Welcome to episode 25 of the Bowls of Life podcast.
25?
You interrupted me. I had to tell him I'm Tyler. I'm Tyler.
I went too early, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
25!
So good. You nailed it.
I'm Virginia, and
Yes, you
as
are.
we've gone through life, we've learned something important.
Yes, and we've even learned it in 24 previous episodes, and that is that life is messy. See, there are a lot of armchair experts out there who will try to tell you how to make life simple.
But it's not. And I didn't know what an armchair expert was.
How do you not know what an armchair expert is? And we talk about it every episode.
I mean, like I didn't know.
Oh, like you know.
Before.
Got you. I'm tracking with you now. I thought you meant like until just now.
No.
Okay.
Okay, anyways.
Mm.
So you're not going to find any armchair experts here.
Correct.
Because we don't know what they are. We aren't those.
No.
But instead, you'll find everyday people who have jumped into the mess of life and are making an adventure of it.
That's us. We're the ones making an adventure of it. In case
Yes.
that's been unclear in the 24 episodes previous
Yeah,
to
so
this.
Tyler, why don't you tell them why you thought of the term, the phrase armchair experts? Like, where did you come up with that?
I don't know. I'm trying to. That was a long time ago. That was like last summer of 2020 when I wrote that intro.
Yeah.
So I genuinely don't remember. Is there like a specific thing I'm supposed to be remembering?
No, I was just
okay.
asking.
It's just the way you asked it. I thought there was something
We
I had
just
said at
wanted
some
you
point.
to know that we're not going to come on here and tell you how to live life.
Yeah, so like an armchair expert is somebody who knows how to do the things, but really they're just the quarterback who's sitting in an armchair because they never even played college football, much less NFL. They're an armchair expert. They're a couch coach.
Oh,
And
okay.
many other statements.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy who feels like he knows how to do everything, even though he's done none of the things. That's an armchair expert.
Gotcha.
We're not that.
No.
No. We try to talk about things we know.
Yeah.
We made it to episode 25 talking about things we know. Were all of them good? I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, here we are. 25 episodes. What was your favorite episode? On the spot.
Favorite episode was I have a few favorites.
Favorite means one.
Okay, so can I do like favorite in different, like we had a favorite interview, then a favorite
Sure.
episode in the series, and then a
I'll
favorite
let you
just
cheat.
us?
It's fine.
I really enjoyed talking about, when it was just you and me, we talked about, was it the friendship one?
Where we talked about Zooming with people?
No, it wasn't that one. It was one of the
Okay.
earlier ones.
Was it about our lives? Was it about self-care? Was it about what we do?
I don't remember.
So it wasn't your favorite, is what I'm hearing you say.
Okay. I really enjoyed the last 2 episodes we did in our series, tracing the storyline through the Bible.
Yeah, God's Big Picture.
God's Big Picture.
Yep, okay.
And those are probably 2 of my favorites.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like it. What made them your favorites?
I think it was just like kind of the climax of the story when you start talking about Jesus, and then Revelation was like the quote unquote end of the story.
Right.
And it was just like it finally all wrapped together. And I mean, of course, it was a series, like it wasn't supposed to wrap together until the end, but
Sure, yeah.
we were at that point where it was all wrapping together, and it was just kind of cool. What about you?
I like it.
You say I like it a lot.
I do. I like it, and I love it.
I want some more of it.
I want some more of it. I do
You
like it.
made that reference on the last
I did.
episode.
That's why I did it again.
Okay.
Um,
People are going to get bored.
They might, but we say the same thing at the beginning of every episode, and they keep coming back. So, we
Okay.
can say some things.
What was your favorite?
My favorite might have been how we got the Bible.
That one was really good.
Okay, yeah. So I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
That's right up my wheelhouse of researching those things. It's been a long time since I got to do that side of study, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of Bible study for presentation purposes these days because my primary role isn't speaking and presenting in that format. So When I do get to do that stuff, it's very enjoyable. But even then, I'm not necessarily researching history portions of it. The less spiritual application, the more just generalized history. So yeah, I enjoyed getting to do that.
Right.
That was fun.
Yeah, that reminded me. It was the How to Study the Bible episode that you and I did.
We did that one very early. I forgot about that one.
I was thinking it was an early one. It was a Bible. Like I couldn't.
How do we
quite
forget
put my
that?
finger
It's
on
even
it.
referenced in one of our reviews. I
Yeah.
think Carrie Puckett, shout out to Carrie Puckett out there.
Yeah.
She wrote about something I said that I think I stole from someone else.
Yeah.
I don't even remember exactly. It was something about doing your devotion and just kind of making the statement that I'm going to make time for this even if there's not time for anything else, because this is the priority of my day, and if God wants me to get done with the other things, he'll make space for it.
Yeah.
I think I said it better last time.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
But yeah, no, that was one of our best ones, or my favorite ones. I guess I should say it that way.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. What's something new in your life since we started the podcast way back in, what was that, August of 2020?
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was August. It was either late August or early September.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Something new in my life. Since we started the podcast, Marco Polo.
Okay, tell me about Marco Polo.
Oh my goodness.
He was an explorer who definitely got lost and we never found him. And that is the tragedy of that child's game, is that we're looking for a whole fleet of ships that no one ever found.
I know nothing about that, so thanks.
Thank you, Uncharted video game that taught me that.
Okay. So it's funny that you asked me that, and a Marco Polo notification showed up on my phone to
Yes, it
remind
did.
me of something new that I'm totally loving, which is, did you mean to copy the question from the 517 podcast? Life podcast?
No, I said, what's something new in your life since we started the podcast? I didn't say anything about something new that you're loving.
That's true.
You made that up because you're on another podcast.
Yeah. We always ask our guests on the 517 Life podcast, what is something new that you're loving? So
Yeah, I didn't ask that.
you're not asking, well, what's new that I'm loving, just something that's new.
Since we started this podcast.
Well, I'm sure there's
But
a lot of things.
still, that is a thing.
But
That
Marco
applied.
Polo is new. Marco Polo is an app that it's a communication app. I don't call it a social media app because
It's not.
it's not. It's a communication app. And it's FaceTime video where you, Marco Polo, your friend, you video record yourself starting a conversation, and then they video record themselves, responding. And so you can Marco Polo back and forth, and you can even watch them live. So you'll get a notification like, Alyssa is Marco Poloing you right now, and you can watch her live as she's recording, and then respond as soon as she gets done.
Think like Snapchat, but less sketchy, and just for like communication one-on-one, or you can do groups on there as well, right?
Yeah, you can do groups,
Yeah.
which is really cool too. We've been using that for some stuff to like plan and, to have conversations with multiple people without having to have a whole meeting.
Right.
Or a whole text message group.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a walkie-talkie. It's not Voxer because it has the video.
Yeah. There you go. I like it.
What about you?
The whole reason I asked this question, right, was so I could talk about, I'm drinking hot tea. And that's really new in my life, like in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I've gone all in, like it's 3 a day right now. That's wild, because
It's a little much.
I didn't do like hot drinks at all, ever.
Never. Like you
And-
barely did
yeah,
hot chocolate.
No, yeah, hot chocolate was like 2 times a winter.
You hate coffee.
Yeah, I do hate coffee. That hasn't changed. But yeah, you were getting a hot tea, and I had like recently been thinking about it because we had this cabinet that has some in there, and like I'd see it and go, I should make one, and then I'd go, I don't know what I'm doing, so I won't make one. And then you said something about, I'm gonna make a tea, and I went, make me one.
Oh, that's right. I made you one. It was a blueberry.
Yeah, it's blueberry
green
something or
tea.
another. Yeah,
And he kind of liked it, so he kept going.
yeah, kept going, and here we are at 3 a day now.
He
Like
gets one in the morning.
I do.
Like people drink their coffee.
Yep.
He gets one at lunchtime, and then he drinks one at nighttime.
In the evening,
Which one are you
yeah.
drinking now?
This is sweet cinnamon spice herbal tea, so it's not caffeinated. So it's an herbal tea.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Cool,
Would you
let
like
me
some?
try it.
Yeah, don't drink much. I'm just saying, don't steal my tea.
Oh, yeah. I've had that one.
It's good. I like it. I like the cinnamons. We have a cinnamon flavored honey, and I'm putting it in most of them. I'm probably gonna burn through it really quick. So we're gonna need to find more cinnamon honey.
Well, now I have a new thing to get you for gifts.
You do.
Tea,
I'll take
mugs.
it. We don't need more mugs.
We don't. But
we
you know
have
what
a
I'm
million.
saying. You need a travel one. But
I do need a travel one.
Tyler loves his tea.
I do. I don't think it's gonna be a fad either for me. Like I may slack off from 3 a day before too long, but like feels like a thing that's gonna stick around. There you go.
There you go.
Well, where are we headed with the podcast, wife?
Well, we wanted to take a new route on our series, or on our next series, and we decided that we would kind of go down the route of the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Yes.
Wait, are we supposed to say it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I was gonna tease it a little bit.
No,
but
okay, let's cut it out.
I'm okay with rolling with it.
Because what if we've said it, and what if it doesn't go through?
No, it is. We're gonna do it with or without other people.
Okay.
That's actually part of what we were gonna talk about. Is we're probably gonna take a little bit of a break. It'll probably be like post Easter, so not that many weeks, like 3.
Post Easter.
Yeah, think about that. That's actually only like 3 weeks away.
True.
Yeah, so not that long. Because we are planning, since there's 8 dimensions, we want to try and do 6, 7, possibly even 8, depending on if you and I don't tackle one or two of the dimensions ourselves. But we really want to make it very interview-based with other people. And interviews mean we have to plan ahead, and we can't do it on Thursday night and release it on Friday morning unless we really plan to do that. So we just need a little bit of time to get those people contacted, get a couple of them at least recorded, and then be back with you guys for that.
Yeah.
What do you know about the 8 dimensions of wellness? Because Bible is more my lane. I got a degree in that. You didn't necessarily get a degree in wellness, but it ties in well with your job, and I believe you're even a certified wellness coach.
Yes.
Yes.
You believe.
I believe.
I'm your wife.
Well, you have like 10 certifications.
I don't.
There's like 50 letters that go after your name to represent all your credentials. Say them all.
MSRDN, LD, NBC, HWC.
See? How am I supposed to remember all of those things?
And like 6 of them just refer to my dietitian credential. It's really stupid. And then the other 6 go to my health coach. How dumb is that?
Yep. Well, it makes you sound really cool. I'm just saying.
I know, I kind of like it.
There are no letters after my name.
Like MD just gets, like a doctor just gets MD.
Yeah, like occasionally someone will call me pastor, or the real ridiculous one that will very occasionally happen is like a reverend, and I'm not a fan of either, honestly. I'm me.
Yeah.
But I don't have any cool letters with my name.
I mean, there's really, the MS is the master's degree, which I think is so silly that you put that behind your name. Like, I got a master's degree.
So can I put BA behind my name?
Exactly.
Bachelor of Arts.
If you have an associate's degree, put AD behind your name. Like, I don't know.
Like the year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just, it's kind of silly, but it's fine. What are we talking about?
Where we're headed? Tell me about
8
wellness.
dimensions of wellness. You didn't prep me on this, but
That's okay. You're not supposed to be prepped.
I think when people think of wellness, they have their own little, maybe definition or what they think it means to be well. And, it's not necessarily just, being healthy is not just to be simply without illness or not sick. There are many things in our life that can, many aspects of our life that can provide us wellness. And in those areas, you can do really well in some areas you can ignore or forget or overlook, and that can also contribute to your health and wellness. That's not the best definition because I wasn't really prepped for that, or best explanation. But, just to name a few, like, we have our physical wellness, we have our occupational wellness, we have our spiritual wellness, and so on and so forth. So it's not just like what a lot of people like to think, diet and exercise and I'm healthy. No, there's a lot of other things that you might want to be intentional in, and by no means do we, think that we can be perfect in all of them.
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Okay, sorry. No, that was a good definition for real, and you were unprepared for it, and so I love it. So that's where we are headed next, is talk through these 8 dimensions of wellness. But that's all we're going to say about all of that for today. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to jump into the meat of today's episode.
All right, so we thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about community. This has been a topic of conversation in our house the past few days, and it's kind of always a topic of conversation.
Sure.
How can we, have more community or less community or
that's me.
Better community. And you kind of strongly deal with the online community in our church. And then I love social media, so I love online community too. So we just thought that would be a fun conversation to have. So Tyler, what is community to you?
What is community? Community is, people you're close with, people you know, people you hang out with. When we use the word community within church, we typically mean like a smaller gathering, or closer gathering might actually be the word I'm really looking for, of people that kind of connect with each other. Mm-hmm. What do you think about when you think about community?
I think, there's several different definitions for that word, but in this context, community is, just the people that you interact with on a somewhat regular basis. You do life with them, as we say. It's somebody, your community are the people that you can turn to when you're in need, or you need prayer, you need something, or even just like for enjoyment and pleasure, to hang out and to have fun.
I like it. Yeah, I don't know that community always has to necessarily be people that you would call like your best friends, as I'm formulating it out in my mind a little bit as we're saying. Community isn't inherently like best friend status at all times with everyone in your community, but they're people that you can trust, I think.
Yeah, I think like when we think of the term as it maybe was more originally defined as like a community in a city. Mm-hmm. So we have the city of Pearl, but then we might have the community of our neighborhood we're not part of an HOA, but the Crest Park.
Yep. Yeah, that's who we are.
Whatever.
Our little community.
Our community. Here. So like it's kind of, but we're not really community because we don't have anything that brings us together other than the fact that we live in the same vicinity.
Yeah.
So let's say maybe it's more of like a community where you have,
that central thing.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you go to the swimming pool together, or you have, meetings about the town, or, the volunteer fire department. There's just a few things that come to mind living in a small town, growing up in a small town. Let me say that.
Yeah.
So that definition of community can kind of help us define our community in this context. And it's not necessarily your best friends, but it's the people that are around you most of the time. Like you even have community in your workplace.
Oh, absolutely.
And while, you become really close with the people that you work with, you have your really close coworkers. And then you have your I hang out with you just at work coworkers. And then you have the people that you never interact with. And so that's like a sense of community as well. And again, it doesn't mean that you're just best friends with all of them.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about community, what are you looking for in a community? Like what are those tick marks that you're like, hey, that's what I want from my community? So for me, one of the things is I'm looking for a community that I don't feel awkward with. Because that's easy for me, and I say that knowing full well that there are still even moments within communities of entire people groups that I know. Like I think about a birthday party we went to. It was like a kid's birthday party. I literally knew almost every single person in the room, but there was just something that day when I walked in, like something triggered in me, and I just felt socially awkward and out of place. And Luna was still fairly young at that point. She's still young. She was really young at that point, and she like started crying, so I just took her and walked out of the room. I was like, oh, take care of my kid, because I felt socially awkward right then. So, but I am looking for community where that is not the norm, because it can be for me.
Yeah, so I don't resonate with that.
Okay.
Because I'm not afraid of feeling awkward.
Sure.
I've never had that fear, and I'm so thankful because I feel like it cripples so many people.
Absolutely.
I hear that word all the time about being awkward. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, I don't want to be awkward. And I'm just like, just be you. Just be. And so sometimes it's kind of frustrating for me. So if you're that other person that, Tyler, you don't like the awkwardness or you feel like you feel awkward, sorry. Because I'm probably the one making you feel awkward. Who knows?
Well,
because I don't care.
It's not a fear of being myself in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's just this feeling of not belongingness, maybe? Yeah, it has nothing to do with who I am or being insecure in me.
Right.
It's just feeling out of place. That might be the right way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing I'm looking.
That's one thing you think about.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a community where I don't feel out of place.
Yeah,
maybe
understand.
that's a better way to say that.
I don't understand, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's just like, here we go. Okay, I can answer this question. I value transparency and honesty. Now, that does not mean you have to tell me everything about yourself and you need to tell me all your secrets or anything like that. I don't mean that. But for me, community is communication and being able to just say, like, hey, I'm in need, or hey, I don't feel like hanging out right now, or hey, you're talking too much, shut up. Like I value so much clear communication and transparency. And so for me, community is just being able to talk to each other and commune with each other, whether that is over something that we're needing to work together on because one of us is in need, or if it's, something we are rallying against or for, or if it's just to hang out and have fun and get to know each other. I think there's just is what I value most in community, is just honesty, transparency, and clear communication.
I like it.
I think that helps with not like worrying about what you think of me, because if you just tell me, I don't have to worry about it. And I don't mean like in an ugly way, but it's just like, if I said something that bothered you, let me know.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And if I said something that made you feel good, let me know. I'm a words of affirmation too, so.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I'd say in that vein, when I'm thinking about community, I want to be able to do something with that community that we can like relate around. Because I am fairly quality time oriented. So I don't need whatever we're doing to be anything massive or ridiculous, but I don't want us to just stand around in a circle for like super long amounts of time. Now, if we're sitting down like having quality conversation,
right,
that counts as quality time. But like if my community is, and let's just call dudes what we are, all of us sitting around, nodding, nobody's really saying much. How was work this week? It's good. If
small talk is what you get tired of really quickly.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't want my community to
superficial.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
that's the right word.
I'm hearing you say that you want community to be quality time, which is, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Quality time, doing something together that brings, joy and maybe even a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Like if it's like you're working on someone's house for charity or whatever.
Yeah. Together.
Or if it's like sitting around a table having a conversation. And so that's where for me, like the communication comes into play and the transparency. I didn't say this a second ago, but I value being able to just like tell you about my life. And I love talking. I love talking about myself, but I also love listening and hearing about you, or, the other person, so that we can have, conversation. Like, oh, you grew up in that kind of, town and that kind of lifestyle. I grew up in this kind of town and this kind of lifestyle. Here's where we differ. Here's where we relate. Like, this is why I'm the way that I am. This is why you're the way that you are. And just being able to talk about your life. And it's not all about talking. So I do like what you said about like doing too. I think that being able to do things together. So what if somebody like is doing something that you don't like to do, like a sport?
Yeah, it depends. If I already have a strong relationship with that group, I'm probably down to at least pretend to sport, to be present and for the quality time aspect of it. If somebody who I just like peripherally know, or even if it's just one person I know who's like, hey, come join this team of people you don't know and let's sport together, nah, I'm out. Because like, if sport is going to be the thing that's supposed to draw all of us together and I really don't know the people, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
If I already know them, I may go ahead and
Right.
do the thing. Like, I think of Man Up Weekend, a men's weekend a few years ago. We were planning to play, I think, like 5-on-5 basketball or something, and so the pastors tend to play together. And so I was like, look, I'll jump on the team because, those are guys I'm comfortable with. I know I'm not really interested and I'm not good at it, but I'll jump on the team. Actually, I think we played 4v4 and I was the alternate.
Oh.
And I just subbed in when other people needed to
You
catch
need a
their
breath.
breath. Yeah, that's basically what I was there for, just to
Yeah.
let people catch their breath. But yeah, so I did that. But as a general rule, sport is not a thing I'm going to go to for community.
Right. Yeah, so that reminds me of a time where, so I was trying to think, like, I'll do just about anything, but there are some things that, like, I probably don't enjoy and wouldn't want to do for community. And I think about a particular person, and she may or may not be listening, but she wanted to go shoot her gun at the gun range. And she knew I was, like, kind of nervous about that. I grew up on a farm, like, but I was not the girl out, like, shooting a gun. Like, that's not me. I don't want to shoot a gun. I don't want to be around other people shooting a gun. But this was my friend, and she had invited me to go shoot her gun at the gun range. And so we went, and like we had great conversation driving there. We had great conversation while we were there. I hit the bullseye a couple times, and she was proud of me. And like, it was community, and maybe I wasn't the most comfortable in what we were doing. We were still able to like enjoy each other's company.
I like it. So when you think about community, what are the things you're trying to bring to the community? Like, what are you trying? I don't know if enhance is the right word, but like, what's the direction? Maybe
I'm always going to be the encourager.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just my thing. When someone is down or, they feel bad about something, like, I'm going to be a little cheerleader and encourage them and maybe give advice if they ask for it, or if I feel like it's necessary. I don't do that a whole lot because I don't like telling people what they should do.
Fair.
I'd rather them like come to their own conclusion. But yeah, I think just encouragement is what I really like to bring. And what else? I love to host. So I really do love people in our home. Some people would rather go to other people's homes to hang out, and some people would rather have people come to their home. I like to be in my home and you come to me. Now I don't always love that. Like, there are times where I do, want to break from that, but for the most part, I really do enjoy it, and I love to feed people.
Okay. Nice.
Sorry, that was a long answer to the fact that I just like to give people food.
No, it was good. I wasn't upset about it. So specifically in like small group community settings, no, this is probably true in all community settings. I like to bring the plan to it.
The plan.
Yeah, because nothing annoys me worse than somebody going, hey, let's get this group of people together, and then not having any sort of a plan and just being like, we're going to get together. And like, okay, well, when, where, what are we doing? Like, give me some details so I can plan and know what's going to happen.
You want to have conversation cards.
I don't need a conversation card.
No, you don't, but I'm just using that as like an example.
But maybe. But yeah, no, it's like when someone goes, all right, let's be here and do a thing. Okay, cool. I'm down to come and hang out. What time? Where? Are we eating before? Because typically it's going to either be midday or in the afternoon, or do I need to bring food? I just got a couple of questions, and if somebody's like, I don't know, at that point I take over and bring a plan.
Yeah.
Because I
do like somewhat of a plan too, but that's because I want to know if I need to bring food.
Yeah, and that's fair. Maybe that's part of my thought process.
Do I need to eat before, or do I need to bring food?
Yeah.
And are we sharing?
Fair. And then maybe in like small group conversation type settings, I do tend to be one who's going to try and lead a little bit of conversation in that setting, just because I know a lot of people aren't comfortable in it, and I've learned to be comfortable in trying to ask open-ended questions to get people dialoguing.
Yeah. I think that I have another answer for it. Kind of going along with encouragement and like you coming to my home. Like I always want people in whatever community I am to feel safe. So, safe to say what they want to say, not do what they want to do, but, say their feelings, say how they feel, or what's going on in their life, and know that, like, there's no judgment and there's only going to be, like, encouragement and love and grace. So, that's where I feel like community can be really special. You feel safe.
Yeah. It's good.
You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be awkward. Virginia doesn't care. She loves you.
I like how you spoke of yourself in third person. That's not very like you. Cool. All right, this next one. Ask me the next question because I want to talk about it.
You're so ready for it. Okay.
I am.
How is technology killing real community?
Oh my goodness. So first of all, I have to
acknowledge. He had an epiphany today.
I did, in the middle of our conversation. So I have to acknowledge I am the technology guy. I don't have all the technologies and spend a ton of money on it, but I value technology in the things it can bring to the table.
Sure. I mean, it is cool. It is advantageous.
Yes, absolutely. And I value tech in the ways it can foster some community, but I do think it is also killing community.
How so?
So, let's take 15 to 20 years ago. Let's go 15 because you and I would have been about 8th grade at that point. So 8th grade, if you wanted to be on social media, you weren't on your phone. You had to go find a laptop or a desktop and sit down and
log into your MySpace.
Yes,
your
wait
Zynga.
for it to log in because it took a minute. Cause,
we did have Facebook at that time.
Yes, Facebook was getting
it
popular.
Just started, and you could only be a college student.
That's right. But yeah, you had to intentionally go, okay, I'm going to go be on social media. You were on it, and then once you did whatever you were there for, you got up from your chair and you were no longer on social media until you came back to that computer.
And AOL Instant Messenger,
yeah.
You could only talk to people when you were signed in.
Right, absolutely. So around...
What was your AOL Instant Messenger?
It's DTB0308.
Mine was Loving Tyler 4451.
Yeah, you made that one just for me, and I loved it. It's
the
so
one before
cute.
that was Love God, Love People 24 something.
I mean, which one's cooler?
Loving Tyler.
Oh, okay. I was going to go Loving God, but whatever. I learned a lot about Virginia today. No. So around that time was also text messaging was just becoming a thing for the most part, but
limited text messaging.
Yeah, it was limited. You didn't have a ton of text messages. So here's how you got community. You either had to go in person to somebody else, because video chatting really was not a thing.
Absolutely.
Skype technically existed, I think, but no one used it. Just businesses. Anyway, so you had to go in person to somebody, or you had to make a actual phone call. And phone calls, just like going in person, take some intentionality. Like
very personal.
Phone calls are personal. You can't just sit there and say nothing for extended periods of time. I mean, some people who are dating would somewhat do that, but even then, it was never that long that you went without talking
Yeah,
to each
me and
other.
you would be like, okay, don't have anything else to say. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, right. So like you had to be intentional for your community. Well, now we get what I dubbed today faux community.
Faux community.
Faux community. So faux community is this feeling of community that doesn't actually satisfy your need for community. So you get that from scrolling on social media because you kind of feel like you interacted with somebody, but you really didn't. You didn't get that satisfaction of it. Like you saw some pictures or a video of somebody, and there's some things that are advantageous about that for sure, but it doesn't really satisfy that need for actual interaction with people. The same thing with text messages. Text messages are a step up from scrolling your social media feed, but even text messages, like, you can only communicate so much. Like, you get tired of typing it, and you got to be very clear with what you're saying when you're texting. You got to be careful.
That's how you word it.
Yeah, and so it only brings so much community.
And only so many poop emojis make sense.
How many poop emojis are you sending?
None.
Okay.
I just thought, emojis.
Yeah, no, it's true. Only so many emojis.
Are trying to help, but,
yes.
only so much.
For my sake, I don't send a lot of emojis, but I send a ton of GIFs. I'm not sure GIFs really provide community to anyone.
No, but they're hilarious.
They are hilarious, but they don't provide community. And so we're missing that real, actual, genuine interaction that happens. I think you can get it through video chats. I do think you have to be in small settings. I think above like 3, maybe 4 different screens. 4 is like even pushing it a little bit with video chatting. I think 3 is probably about the max you're going to get some genuine community. And we just all experienced 2020. Probably were on several video chats, but I think back, I connected with my youth pastor who's now out in Texas, and a mutual friend of he and I is actually a student of his from a different place. The 3 of us got on and we chatted for a while. It's fantastic, but then Jeff actually had to get off. It's Tim. Tim's been on the podcast, was the other guy. Jeff had to get off. He had to go do some things for work. Well, Tim and I stayed on, and as good as the community was with all 3 of us there, when it was just the 2 of us, I think he and I even connected a bit deeper, just because there wasn't that lag time that comes with video chatting. I think Marco Polo can be a form of community, because I have watched you receive and send some close to 30-minute Marco Polos, which is just way too long. I'm so glad y'all are committed to talking to each other for that long. I don't think I could probably talk to you for 30 minutes on a video without you responding, but I'm not sure I could sit and listen to somebody's that long. That says more about me than it does about you, but that's here and there.
Well, Marco Polo has been great because it is a deeper form of connection than text messages are.
Because you're able to communicate more. You're using actual words versus...
And my face.
Yeah, and true that.
My... And
expressions.
Like, it's real, like I'm in my home or I'm in, wherever I am. And one other thing that's really cool about it is like, I can, what was I going to say? I totally forgot.
Marco Polo, facial expressions, faux community. It's closer to community. It's better than text messages. That's all I got for you.
I forgot what I was going to say. But
know.
anyways, it's just like we can still connect on a little bit deeper level than text message, but, it's not full community.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. This is where technology, can be advantageous, but also it's like, well, it's still faux community. To phone call somebody takes a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
I have a friend that will phone call me, and, like, we have to set aside time for that, because if we want to talk, in depth, like, we got to give ourselves a lot of time. Whereas Marco Polo, it's like, okay, I can Marco Polo you now, and then when you get to it, you respond, and then when I get to it, I'll respond. And so we could have one single conversation that lasts a whole week because we're going back and forth when we can. And that's just the reality of, text a busy world.
Sure, absolutely. But yeah, so I think text technology, in a lot of ways, is actually killing community. It was super useful for 2020 when that was the only options we had in a lot of ways.
And it is
though you should have,
useful.
you could call people. That didn't go away. Just throwing that out there as someone who hates to call people. That's me. I don't call people well, but there's just something super intentional about that. And as a matter of fact, Jeff and I, one of the guys I was video chatting, we phone call each other from time to time. Every 2 or 3 months, we'll make actual phone calls and we'll talk for an hour easy. Just because we're getting a level of community and connection that we don't get when we send text messages to each other, which is what we do more often than not.
Well, and there's some folks, like, I could text all day long. It does kind of get annoying to have to, like, text long messages.
Type.
But, like, I feel like there's some people out there that get tired of their phone, like, dinging from text messages. So then I'm, like, feeling bad if I'm sending them a ton of messages. And so then you have that whole, like, complex of, like, well, I want to talk to them, but I feel like I'm getting on their nerves.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my takeaway from that.
Okay.
Make phone calls and go and see people in person.
Yeah.
Be aware of COVID and things like that. Obviously, we're still living in the middle of that, but go see people in person. And if you go, hey, I'm missing out on community with so-and-so, they haven't asked me to go and do something in a while. Cool, I understand. I have some things like that sometimes where I go, I wish so-and-so would ask me if we'd go hang out. Well, then I should ask them if we should go hang out. Like,
yeah, no, we think about that often. Like, we'd like to hang out with so-and-so. I guess we should ask them to hang out.
Yep,
if we want to hang out with them.
Yeah. And it's just that simple.
Yeah.
It's just taking the time to do
It's
it.
that simple, but it's not that simple.
Right. Well, and I mean, we talked about this on a level on our friendship episode, but we just have to fight for it.
Yeah, you just have to fight for community. And even, like, in your own, like, selfish desires, like, sometimes you want to just, like, be home alone or or maybe even only hang out with, like, one particular person, and maybe you need to have community with more than that one person, or I don't even know where that came from. But I guess I was just thinking about, variety in your friendships, and then, or diversity. And, like you said, just fight for it. And it's hard, but just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some other steps we can take to fight for deep community? You got any recommendations?
I've always enjoyed a good talk over a cup of coffee.
Or hot tea.
Or a meal. Really a drink, because you can
you can interact better.
You can interact. You're not, like, trying to eat. Yeah. So I mean, like, when that's available, when you have that opportunity, definitely try to jump on it. And I say that knowing, like, I've done that far and few between, but when I do, it's so good to meet with that person in person and have a conversation. And one thing I think we all struggle with is, like, maybe with a certain person, in your mind, you've made up all these conversations or these scenarios that maybe it's something you're worried about, something you're concerned about, or you're thinking, like, what if they think this? What if they think that? What if they're doing this? What if I do that? When really you should just call the person or hang out with the person and realize that all the scenarios you just made up in your head were not real, or didn't happen. So that can sometimes keep you from hanging out with somebody because you've thought up all these scenarios in your head and made them real when they weren't real.
I like it. I think another one is to give some clear expectations of what you're looking for. Sometimes we're looking for something from either a specific friend or a group of friends, and when we don't get it, maybe our tendency is to go, well, they didn't meet my expectation, I guess I'm out, or I guess I'm just not as engaged with this group, or whatever. Sometimes I think we just need to let people know, like, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for. This is kind of what I need from community right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true in every area of life. If we don't make our expectations clear and someone doesn't meet them, it's really not that other person's fault that they didn't meet our expectations because they didn't know we had that expectation.
Yeah, and I've even had a friend say, more than one friend say, like, they don't like having expectations on them. Like, you're a good friend because you don't have any expectations, of our friendship. And so there's a level of, like, we can just be friends and, not expect something from the other. But then again, it's like, when I start feeling like something's not right, I have to communicate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the word expectation is just to give a clear definition to it.
Yeah.
I think probably more of what I'm meaning is, like, if what I need right now is just somebody to listen to me. I don't need somebody to give me advice. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might just need to communicate that. And I know, like, let's go husband and wife. Like,
yeah, we do that.
Yeah, there's plenty of times where you literally just want me to listen, and my default is to help you solve the problem. Well, chances are you have mostly solved the problem already, and you just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so...
Now, actually, you used a marriage, example. Actually, a friend earlier today was Marco Poloing. And she was like, hey, if you just want to talk about it, or if you want me to give you advice, like, let me know. I'll shut up and listen. Or if you want advice, I'll give you advice. And it was just, like, kind of nice because it was like, okay, like, I know I can...
This is what I need.
I can say to you, like, I just want to tell you what happened, but I don't really need advice from you. I just want to tell you about it and let me talk about it. And those are the kind of expectations we're talking about.
Right.
Because, like, you don't want to get frustrated because your friend started telling you advice, but they thought that's what you wanted, so...
Yeah, like, if you start telling me about a problem, I'm more than likely going to go, oh, well, here's what I think you should do.
Yeah.
Because I think I know everything, and thus I'm going to share with you.
Right.
That was a joke. My wife didn't find it funny because she's experienced that one too many times to find it funny. But yes, we need to communicate what we're looking for, and if someone isn't meeting what we're looking for, and we haven't communicated it before we decide, well, I guess I'm out of this community, I'm out of this friendship, whatever, maybe we should just say, hey, like, here's what I've been looking for. Do you feel like this is something we can do together, or do I need to look for this somewhere else? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's almost like a dating relationship. Like, I'm looking for a husband.
Yeah.
Are you going to, be husband material? And if nope,
the DTR.
Peace out. Pass out. Peace out.
Yeah. DTR. Got to define the relationship. Where are we going? What are we doing?
So,
what's this about?
Another thing that I thought of, and now this is me as an extrovert, not really having an issue going up to somebody and talking to them and small talk and whatever. Me and another extroverted friend were just talking about this. Like, say at church, for instance, you're there and, there's 5 minutes until the gathering starts, and maybe you walked in by yourself and you want to talk to somebody, making sure that you, like, go up to somebody and talk to them. But that's being proactive. But if you're the person who's getting talked to, you need to be... what's the word I'm looking for? Receptive and talk back. We were talking about how, like, several times you can say, hey, I'm so-and-so, it's nice to meet you, or whatever. And then the person's like, hey, and doesn't want to talk back. And that's really discouraging because then you feel like, well, why did I bother? Why did I bother talking to this person? Mm-hmm. So if you're the person who's being talked to, be receptive, be open to conversation. I understand there's, like, everybody's, like, social awkward, social dilemma, whatever. Like, just say your name and how are you doing. Like, literally, it's not that hard. Am I overstepping Tyler, who's introverted?
No.
Okay.
I mean...
with a smile on your face, right. For goodness sake.
Yeah. No, interact with people, for sure.
Yeah, I just don't think it's that hard to have a conversation with somebody and interact. Now, I understand for some people, maybe it's, like, literally like a thing in their mind. Like, they really do have struggles with social anxiety and that sort of thing. Cool, that's fine, whatever. But I just mean, like, just being nice to people when they talk to you, but also being one who's, like, willing to talk to somebody first, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Anything else on community you'd like to say?
Nah, I probably said enough. I probably should shut up now.
Fair. All right, so last question. Are you ready for it? What's messy in your life that you're loving?
The Lord is teaching me a few things right now. That could somewhat be messy, depending on how you want to define that word. But I'm loving it because I'm definitely, it's hard, but I'm growing through it. So
Fair.
It's good. What about you?
Yeah. So I've, during the pandemic, met another local pastor, smaller church, a little bit older congregation, and so they were having some struggles kind of getting some of their online stuff rolling. So I got to kind of step in and help them with some of that, and just through that, we've had a lot of good conversations around just welcoming new people in and church in general. And so he tends to call me from time to time. And so today I was working on something in the middle of the afternoon trying to get some stuff written. And he called right in the middle of it. And we had been playing phone tag all week, so I didn't screen it. That can sometimes be my default with phone calls. I'll own it. But I didn't screen his phone call. I just went ahead and answered. And we ended up talking for like 40 minutes, and it was a huge interruption in the middle of my afternoon when I was trying to accomplish some things. But it was such good conversation because he was genuinely going, hey, how do you do this? And how are you doing this thing? He was really thinking towards guests and welcoming people into the church. And so we're just talking about all the different avenues and things that we do. And so he's just ultimately looking to learn how to help reach people with the gospel. And so as big of an interruption as it was, and as messy, I guess is the buzzword I'm looking for, as it kind of was to my afternoon, I really enjoyed it because I got to talk about things I was passionate about, and I got to help another local church share the gospel. So, yeah, that relationship with him is probably a little messy at moments, but I really enjoy it because at the end of the day, it's taking the gospel somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's been fun.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us on this podcasting journey. We super appreciate it. We're going to be back shortly. Don't worry. We promise we're not just going to ghost you guys. We're coming back with that next series of the 8 Dimensions of Wellness with some good interviews planned out for that. In the meantime, you guys can head to bowlsoflife.com to find all things Bowls of Life. You can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. Make sure you share it with some friends. Give us a 5-star rating. Write us some reviews. We do read and love to read those. And last but not least,
tell us what's messy in your life that you are loving, and we will feature you on the podcast. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we're looking to pick up some of those during this couple of week break.
I'm going to start asking friends to do it.
Yeah, we call in and use fake voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll just do it.
My name is Elmo.
I love it. That was such a good Elmo. Thank you guys for being here with us. We'll chat with you again soon.
Bye.